Know about the Swift news? Guess what? The internet is also buzzing right now over this video, and it's from Will Smith that he posted on YouTube from his comeback tour in Europe. A lot of folks online are accusing the musician and the actor of posting a video using AI to change the appearance of his crowds.
Things went wrong. Things went wrong.
People ask me how I do it. I just bite off more than I can chew. Then I chew it. Yeah.
It's almost unreal to think it's been 3 years since Will Smith shocked the world with one of the wildest moments in Hollywood history, storming the stage at the 2022 Oscars and slapping Chris Rock in front of millions. That single move didn't just rattle the industry, it shattered his image. Fans who had followed him faithfully for decades suddenly turned their backs, swearing never to support him again, whether it was his blockbuster films or his personal projects. And now, in 2025, Will Smith is clawing for a comeback. He's trying to revive his acting career and, surprisingly, even dipping back into music. But instead of being celebrated, whispers are spreading that his recent concerts aren't pulling real crowds.
Yeah.
Sounding good.
Oh man, all right.
People are claiming those audiences are being generated in very specific areas, and the buzz around it is ugly. But the drama doesn't stop there. Lately, Will has gotten more political than ever, throwing out bold statements about the administration, Trump's circle, and even MAGA supporters. For a star in his fragile position, you'd think politics would be the last thing he'd want to touch right now. Yet here he is, diving straight into controversy like he has nothing left to lose. And it gets worse. Instead of repairing ties with the fans who stood by him through decades of success, he's pointing fingers at them too. That's right. The very same loyal supporters who once lifted him to superstardom are now being blamed for not sticking around. It's a bizarre spiral that feels like he's tearing down his own legacy, brick by brick. One thing's clear, ever since that night in 2022 when he let anger take over and slapped Chris Rock, Will Smith hasn't been the same. The charm, the Fresh Prince energy, the Hollywood golden boy image, it's all been overshadowed by controversy, backlash, and questionable choices. And now the world is watching, wondering if he'll rise again, or if this is the slow-motion crash of one of Hollywood's brightest stars. But the fire around Will Smith hasn't cooled down. It's burning hotter than ever. His feud with fans and critics exploded after he lashed out at President Trump and his administration, only to face another public disaster with his comeback attempt in music. People are calling out those so-called generated crowds at his shows. And instead of easing the tension, Will is making it worse with fresh rants that sound more like attacks than apologies. In one shocking statement, Will said, "Over the years and throughout my entire career, I would just say, of course, up until recently, I've learned that you can't trust everyone. Not even your most dedicated fans and supporters that you once thought were ride and die supporters that suddenly turn their back against you over your political views." That's a direct hit on the same fan base that built his empire.
Things went wrong. Things went wrong. And I've spent the last couple of years, I've carried a lot of shame and, guilt. Thank you. And I've been doing a lot of self-reflection. I think we have another medical issue right there. Somebody else is down. We have another medical issue right there. Can we make a path right here? Somebody else is down. Right there. All right, yeah, they got it. They're good. All right. Thank you all for that. Thank you. Taking care of each other. I love that.
And he didn't stop there. Will added that the biggest piece of criticism he's still facing isn't even about the slap. It's about his political views and how he feels this administration is destroying the country. He insists that the fans who say they dropped him because of the Oscar slap are lying. According to him, the real reason is tied to Jada and his outspoken political beliefs. Then came the words that set social media on fire. Any so-called supporters of mine out there claiming that they are walking away because of what happened 3 years ago at the Oscars, they just need to shut it. They need to just take a moment, be quiet, and really think hard to themselves. Why do I have issues with Will now? This kind of language is adding gasoline to the flames. Instead of healing the wounds from one of Hollywood's darkest nights, Will is dragging his fans into a new war. And the backlash is louder than ever. What started as a desperate comeback attempt is turning into a messy standoff between a fallen star and the very people who once cheered his every move. Will Smith doubled down, saying fans would realize his downfall isn't about the slap at all. It's about his political views and Jada's too. He even went as far as calling it an embarrassment to the country that people could act so two-faced. Will said it's very un-American and admitted it feels like the country has flipped upside down in just 8 months. That's heavy talk, and it's only digging the hole deeper. Then came another shocking moment. Will went off on fans who try to support him but throw in a little criticism. I think there comes a point when supporters who can be quite disingenuous at times that say, "Hey, I love you, Will." But it's in that instant moment when I hear the word "but." I just ask you to zip it. Just zip it. I don't want to hear it at all because that's when I know you are not a true fan. That's not just frustration, that's a slap in the face to the very people who carried him to superstardom. Will's basically saying if you aren't blindly loyal, you're not a real supporter. Meanwhile, he claims his focus is on music and even sequels to some of his biggest Hollywood hits, as if controversy won't follow him there too. This is where things get messy. He's not just targeting critics or random haters anymore, he's going after the diehard fans who defended him when no one else would. By labeling them two-faced and liars, Will is showing just how out of touch he's become with the people who made him a household name. And let's be honest, Will's career wasn't at its peak even before the infamous 2022 Oscars. He already had a string of box office struggles, questionable choices, and personal drama overshadowing his shine. Now, instead of rebuilding, he's tearing down whatever loyalty he has left, all while demanding people see the world the way he does. The truth is, the Will Smith we see now feels less like the Hollywood golden boy and more like a star who can't accept that the spotlight doesn't shine the same anymore.
People ask me how I do it. I just bite off more than I can chew. Then I chew it. Yeah. Yeah, y'all jokers thought I blew it. I pulled a pin out the grenade on purpose when I threw it.
Oh my God, this nigga's poop!
At this point, it's looking more and more like Will Smith might be gearing up to call it quits on acting altogether. Sure, he's been teasing Men in Black 5 as a comeback move, hoping to revive one of his most iconic franchises with Universal. But the truth is, even that plan feels shaky. Instead of letting the work speak for itself, Will keeps dragging politics into every conversation, and it's turning fans off fast. The wild part is how far he's willing to go. He's basically telling his loyal supporters to shut up and zip it if they dare question him. That's not just arrogance, that's Will putting his fans on blast and accusing them of lying to themselves about why they don't support him anymore. Whether it's the Oscars slap, his messy marriage drama, or his political rants, Will insists the real issue is people not liking his views, and he refuses to hear otherwise. But here's the twist. Some insiders believe Will knows exactly what he's doing. They say he's leaning into controversy on purpose, stirring the pot just to keep his name buzzing. Because let's be honest, what better way to get back into headlines than by saying something so outrageous that people can't stop talking about it? Still, the hypocrisy is hard to ignore. He goes on about how divided the country is, how Hollywood is tarnished, and how the film industry is collapsing under Trump's policies. Yet at the same time, he's fueling that same division with every rant. He's blasting fans for walking away while pushing his own politics deeper into the spotlight. For someone who once ruled Hollywood as the ultimate family-friendly superstar, Will Smith is now stepping into a lane filled with chaos, controversy, and contradictions. And if this is really his way of keeping himself relevant, it might be the riskiest gamble of his career. The truth is, a lot of people aren't walking away from Will Smith because of some hidden agenda. They're just tired. Tired of the lectures, tired of the forced messages, tired of the nonstop drama that comes with his name now. But Will doesn't see it that way. He keeps talking about how projects like Men in Black 5 are in the works and how the process is moving forward. Yet, in the same breath, he attacks his own fans again, claiming they're putting on masks and lying about why they've walked away. According to Will, this isn't about the Oscars slap or years of personal scandals. He says it's part of a larger vendetta against Hollywood, fueled by Trump's policies and his supporters eating it up. Instead of owning up to his mistakes, Will keeps recycling the same talking points over and over, like a broken record that no one wants to hear anymore. In just the past couple weeks, he's made multiple rants like this, lashing out and pointing fingers at everybody but himself. He's acting like the country turned on him, when in reality, people are just fed up with the way he drags politics into every single conversation. Fans wanted the movie star back, the entertainer, the icon. What they got instead is someone trying to lecture America and the world like he's some political leader. And when you add Jada into the mix, the picture gets even messier. People already see both of them as exhausting, constantly oversharing and stirring chaos. The fact that Will and Jada are still presenting themselves as victims while calling everyone else two-faced makes it clear why fans feel they're impossible to support anymore. Looking at Will's career in the rearview mirror, the odds of a full comeback look slimmer by the day. Hollywood may give him chances, but the public doesn't forget, and it's clear more and more people just don't have the patience for him anymore. Now, here's where things get even more interesting. Hollywood itself has been reacting, and the responses say everything. Some stars who once stood shoulder to shoulder with Will Smith have gone completely silent, keeping their distance as if even mentioning his name might drag them into the mess. Big names in the industry who used to call him family aren't posting support, aren't showing up at events with him, and aren't speaking his name in interviews. That silence is louder than words. Behind the scenes, insiders claim there are actors who feel like Will brought this storm on himself. They point out how he's constantly turning every conversation into politics, instead of focusing on rebuilding his reputation. According to one source, a well-known actor was overheard saying Will is digging his own grave by attacking the very people who made him a star. That's cold, but it reflects what a lot of people are thinking right now. On the flip side, a handful of celebrities have tried defending him, mostly calling the backlash too harsh and saying he deserves a second chance. But those voices are few and far between. And let's be honest, even those who speak up are careful not to tie themselves too closely to him. It's more of a polite nod than real support. And then you've got the ones who are quietly laughing. Social media has exposed some of the shady shade, little likes on tweets mocking Will, subtle comments during interviews, and even comedians slipping in jokes at award shows. It's like Hollywood is treating his downfall as entertainment, the same way the public is. The bigger picture, celebrities know Hollywood runs on reputation, and Will's name doesn't carry the same weight it used to. Instead of rallying around him, most are treating him like a cautionary tale. In an industry where loyalty is rare, Will is learning that once your shine fades, people move on fast. The drama really started with one video, the now infamous clip that fans say exposed Will Smith's desperate attempt to stage a comeback using fake support. At first glance, the footage looked like a triumphant return. Will on stage, the crowd screaming, the energy electric. But it didn't take long for people online to notice something strange. The faces in the crowd didn't move naturally, the chants didn't sync, and the energy felt off. That's when accusations started flying that the entire audience was generated with AI. Once the rumor caught fire, social media tore the video apart frame by frame. People pointed out repeating faces in the crowd, robotic movements, and audio that didn't line up with the supposed cheering. Within hours, the hashtag #FakeFans was trending, with users clowning Will for trying to fool the public. Instead of sparking hype, the video became a meme, and the internet doesn't forget. What made this even worse is the timing. Will had been pushing hard to show he was back on top, both in music and film, and this video was supposed to be proof. Instead, it turned into evidence that his career needed artificial hype just to survive. For a star once considered one of the most charismatic performers alive, being accused of faking fans was devastating. The industry noticed too. Executives and insiders reportedly saw the video as a red flag. Not just about Will's image, but about whether he still has the power to draw real audiences. One Hollywood producer allegedly joked in private, "If you have to build your crowd with AI, maybe it's time to call it quits." That kind of whisper spreads fast in a business built on reputation. In the end, the video didn't just spark a feud between Will and the public. It became the foundation of the narrative that he's out of touch, desperate, and relying on smoke and mirrors to stay relevant. Hollywood insiders are now weighing in, and the whispers aren't flattering for Will Smith. Some executives see him as a major risk, not because of his talent, but because of the baggage he now brings with him. Studios don't want to gamble millions on someone whose every project ends up being overshadowed by political rants, fan feuds, and now even an AI-generated crowd scandal. For them, Will's name no longer guarantees box office gold. It guarantees controversy. Agents and producers have reportedly been distancing themselves, saying Will is too unpredictable to work with. Others argue that while he still has star power, it's the wrong kind, the type that sparks internet jokes instead of ticket sales. One streaming executive allegedly summed it up bluntly: Will doesn't bring fans anymore, he brings headaches. That's a brutal reputation to have in an industry where reputation is everything. And yet, there are still a few who believe he could pull off a comeback through music. But even they admit the whole AI-generated fan fiasco was a disaster. For someone trying to prove he can still draw real crowds, being accused of faking them was like driving a stake right through the heart of his comeback attempt. So maybe, just maybe, he has a chance with his music career, but at this point, nobody knows for sure. The backlash is heavy, the criticism is loud, and Hollywood's patience is running out. And all of this leaves one big question hanging in the air. Is Will Smith on the edge of redemption? Or has his fall from grace already sealed his fate? But I want to hear from you guys. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you think about Will Smith's latest scandals, from the AI-generated crowd to his nonstop political rants? Do you think he's finished in Hollywood, or can he pull off one more big comeback? Make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to Fame Drip, and turn on notifications so you never miss a story. And don't click away just yet. Check out the next video on your screen for even more celebrity drama.